Hello everybody out there. How are you all doing? I'm Kate Hill, bringing you the best unbiased and honest content on property as always, along with fantastic hints and tips. Stay tuned today for a national house price forecast. House prices across Australia are on the verge of reaching new all-time highs this year, driven by factors such as robust migration patterns, a tight rental market, dwindling housing stock levels. This reversal of fortune, bouncing back from the declines experienced in some locations in 2022, has unfolded much more swiftly and vigorously than initially anticipated. Isn't that always the case? Contrary to many expectations, the housing market has managed to steer clear of the substantial price drops that many had feared and indeed predicted. In fact, it appears that this year may finish with a higher than average annual growth rate in many markets, even as interest rates have noticeably risen. August saw yet another increase in the National Home Price Index, and the prospect of a double dip in prices dwindles with each passing day. As we observe an 8th consecutive month of home price growth, it becomes really evident that property markets bottomed out towards the end of 22, during which time we also saw many interest rate rises. Despite these rate hikes, some prices have continued to ascend, firmly establishing their gains. So far this year, prices have grown by 3.51%, bringing them within a mere 0.7% of peak levels seen in March last year. Now, this remarkable turnaround follows a 4.12% drop in just 9 months from March to December 22, marking a steep, though not unprecedented downturn. If current trends persist, it's plausible that the previous price peak may be surpassed by November 23, culminating in a 5.1% annual price growth for the year. The robust annual growth rates are especially noteworthy given the considerable erosion of affordability due to the steep rise in interest rates. They really attest to the persistent demand fueled by an uptick in population growth and the limited housing supply, which have mitigated the impact of those higher interest rates. Leading this year's price growth are capital city markets, notably Sydney. Should these cities maintain their current momentum, then they could potentially outpace the previous peak in as little as 2 months by, say, October, resulting in annual capital city price growth of 6.5% by the year end, just above the long-term average growth rate. Now, Sydney has spearheaded this recovery, with home values rebounding by 6.19% since hitting bottom November 22, following a 7% decline over the 9 months from February to November 22. If Sydney's home prices continue on their current trajectory, then the previous peak could be surpassed, like I said, by October, and 2023 might conclude with an impressive 8.9% price increase. Melbourne, on the other hand, has not seen such a swift turnaround in home price growth as has been seen in Sydney and in Brisbane, but it also did not see a large decline in 2022. So while prices are likely to continue to recover in Melbourne, unless growth accelerates, values in Melbourne will be slower to surpass the peak in March 22. However, this comes after a decade of comparative outperformance relative to the other capital cities. In contrast to the 3.74% decline observed from April to December 22, Brisbane's home prices have now not only recovered, but have also continued to rise throughout August. If these price trends hold over the next 3 months, Brisbane's home prices could conclude the year with an 8% increase, nearly double the average annual growth rate since 2010. The city's outperformance can be attributed to massive population growth resulting from interstate and overseas migration, coupled with the relative affordable housing market when compared to Sydney and Melbourne. Brisbane's median house value stands at just 63% of Sydney's median value. Additionally, limited housing stock in Brisbane, with fewer properties listed for sale compared to a year ago and well below previous decade averages, has driven prices higher. With the continued strength in home buying demand and light stock levels, prices are likely to continue their upward trajectory. Adelaide and Perth have defied the price decline seen in some of those other parts of the country in 2022 and have emerged as the strongest capital city markets over the past year, reaching fresh record highs in both markets. If prices maintain their current pace, Adelaide could see a 9.8% increase by year end, nearly double the average annual growth since 2010, while Perth could end the year up 8%, which is 4 times the average pace of annual growth observed since 2010. Despite their resilience, median values in both cities remain considerably lower than those in other capital cities, except maybe Darwin. Buyers in Adelaide and Perth also face limited options, with the total number of properties listed for sale near historic lows and well below the previous decade averages. The relative affordability of homes in these cities has been a driving factor in their outperformance, along with population growth, housing shortages, and extremely tight rental markets, with vacancy rates remaining below 1%. Looking ahead, supply and demand dynamics are expected to rebalance in the coming months, particularly in Sydney and Melbourne. Already there has been a bit of a rebound in the number of new listings coming to the market in these cities as seller confidence grows. An increase in available stock could potentially provide buyers with a little bit more choice, increased bargaining power compared to the first half of the year, but we are coming off very, very low bases. Should the flow of new listings continue to rise, which is likely with the advent of our spring selling season, see my other video, the pace of price growth this year could decelerate. But given the stabilisation of interest rates, strong labour market, continued robust home buyer demand, the market could absorb that expected influx of new listings. Looking further ahead, the sustainability of this year's robust price increases remains a question. As affordability worsens, the economic growth slows, does it? Nevertheless, high levels of migration, limited new housing supply, and emerging housing shortages, it's not emerging, it's been there for 2 years, is expected to keep prices going up, especially in the smaller capital city markets of Perth, Adelaide and Brisbane, where housing remains comparatively affordable, yields are great, demand is bolstered by both interstate and overseas migration. I will keep you all posted on all things property from around Australia as we keep going on into this year. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button if you're enjoying all my free content, and I will see you soon. Bye.